Hey everybody, this is Silver Spook, and this is the Silver Spook Neofeud is coming this week video, and also dev updates, and of course some other reviews and probably commentary of various kinds as usual. Yeah, so obviously the big news is that the game is coming. Sorry, just checking my microphone volume. Looks like it's good. The game is coming this week. Um, there is only 3 days left in March, so I got 3 days to get the game out. So it's coming like, especially when I'm done, it's coming out. If it's not, well, whatever state it's in the 31st is gonna be out. I just finished the entire. I finished the last scene of the game. That's like the playable game itself, and then the first part of the quote unquote ending. Like the wrap up scenes. But all the playable game is now completely done. With music, sound effects, everything, the graphics, the story, the programming, the gameplay. Sound effects and music was the last bit I was wrapping up, and then finishing touches. So I just wrapped that last scene, which is what there's the screenshot of this levitating fulcrum palace with its inverted golden pyramid that it sits upon, and this now it was levitating in Neofeud 1. Now it's a little higher up, and there's a little more. There was actually a bit of a. There's a fairly significant action. Well, there's multiple fairly significant action scenes in Neofeud 1. And then there's an even bigger one in Neofeud 2. It's like the grand finale bit. It's the whole shebang bit. The whole kit and caboodle. Apocalypse Now. Apocalypse Now / Solidarity Forever. Which will it be? So that big scene. That one was the scene was all yesterday. I spent part of the morning, and then we had to do some errands, and then the whole afternoon, and then the evening, and then till 3 a.m. And then I got it done. So I did get the whole scene done in one day. There's a whole lot to do in that scene. There's literally like 100 pieces moving at the same time on screen, and it's all in Adventure Game Studio. So that was a trick. That's something I figured out how to do in Neofeud 1. That's very it's kind of like having like the way that Neofeud goes and Neofeud 2 goes. A lot of it is kind of like a stage play, or it's like I think of it like I'm like directing a TV show or a movie, where like you move here at this time and you move here at this time, and then trying to like precisely plan like this missile will fire from this location at this time, because a lot of it it's not like you're not like really playing it. You're not playing the action like this war scene that you're seeing. It's not necessarily being. You're not controlling every single starfighter and space devastator, the stellar warriors using their space devastators, and their the giant planet killing destruct stars. Each one of them is not being controlled by you like in a StarCraft sense, or like in a or in like a scrolling shooter sense, right? It's a point and click adventure game. But then they are all like you're doing things in this scene that will impact the outcome of this war, this battle, in a point and click adventure way. But then there's also all this coordination behind the scenes that's being carried out like actors in a play, or like props, character and special effects coordination in a movie production. Like if you're filming Star Wars, you have to coordinate like when these ships move. I mean, it's either digital or it's in if you're filming some miniatures, like when George Lucas filming an X-wing, TIE fighters and such, right? So you gotta I think of it like cinematically in that sense. And that was I knew this was gonna be the most challenging one, or one of the most challenging ones. It's definitely challenging and testing the limits of Adventure Game Studio, because there's like one thing was like how would I get like thousands of soldiers fighting, thousands of infantry, you know, a whole lot of, you know, and multiple armadas fighting each other at the same time, and like make it, you know, obviously you can't do that literally because it's point click adventure engine, but like you can't, you know, it's not Unreal, the modern Unreal, or I don't know what the most advanced. It's not Unity or Unreal or you know, the most advanced AAA engines, but you know, it's just like I want to have something where, you know, it just kind of feels like a epic finale to everything. So anyway, long story short, that is done. So that means I'm just wrapping the ending of the game. It's just, I'm just like making sure that if there needs to be sound effects or music or any changes, I'm just like fixing that up. That's like today and tomorrow, and then I'm finalizing the credits. So I was hitting up everyone who contributed to Neofeud to just, you know, hey, just crossing all my T's and dotting all my I's. You know, would you like to be known as your name, or would you like to be known as your, you know, your cyberspace alias, as they used to say? Would you like to be known as your, you know, your pseudonym or your real name, or what name do you want? It's up to you. So we want both names. So I'm trying to figure out. Some people have some multiple names and very long ones. So I'm figuring out how to make that work. I'm pretty sure I could figure it out. I mean, I looked at other people's credits. I've been playing a lot of games now. I'm trying to play more games just to keep up to date with what's going on. And when I see credits, there's all kind of different. It's not so. Lots of people just have like, you know, Kitty Warrior 86 or what, you know, their online handle, not their name. And like I go by Silver Spook, and sometimes I use my real name in various contexts. It kind of depends on like who you're dealing with. Like older generations sometimes prefer all the real name, birth certificate, or, you know, driver license, you know, government ID names. But some people are, you know, other people, especially, you know, I would say younger people and more online people for sure. Like nobody knows me by that name. Or people who use, you know, digital space, are in more digital spaces. Like I don't really use that name that much. So if I use that, anyway, wrapping the credits, and let me look at the chat. Let me break this out here, because this is like I'm not gonna, this, you know, I really gotta focus on finishing Neofeud 2. Obviously, I'm not gonna put all the energy into streaming. You know, that's just this kind of like a little bit of it's mostly just kind of like, oh, one more thing, hanging out with people and interacting with the audience. I mean, it is part of a good, you know, we do want to share some information with the potential, you know, with Silver Spook fans and people who are interested in what's going on. But I really the number one task, of course, this weekend is finish Neofeud 2, because after 9 years, you know, that's, you know, I got 3 days left after 9 years. That's a 0.01001% of the time left. I gotta use that. Well, obviously, once whatever comes out of itch, it's, you know, I'm still gonna have to do things, you know, but it's you know, it's like, you know, it's like the final form of Neofeud minus you know, any bug fixes, and obviously there's no Steam achievements because it's not yet on Steam. It's not gonna come yet to Steam. If you wanted that, sorry. Okay, let me check the chat. Hey, what's up, Street Cat Love? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah. So, but yeah, if anybody does watch, you can also, if you don't have time to, if you can't make, because I'm trying to be a little more interactive with these streams in particular, because it is like dev stream, people interested in the game specifically, you know, in particular about the game stuff, like Neofeud 2, Silver Spook game stuff. But if you don't make it to the stream and you like have a question or comment, you can also just YouTube comments, of course. You know, smash that like and subscribe button. People are supposed to say that all the time. I don't, I know, but yeah. Anyway, so Neofeud 2 is you know, Tuesday. I think Tuesday is the 31st. So my goal is like definitely by the 31st. If everything I can wrap it up on Monday, then it's Monday. Monday is usually like a long. I have extra time to work on that day, so that might be a good day to wrap it up. And then And once it comes out, I'm gonna still do more promotional stuff. I still gotta start. Once it comes out, I mean, like I said about Neofeud 1, one thing they don't tell you in game development and the indie game development, and what they don't tell you is most of the work happens after you finish the game. Right? It's actually after you finish the game. It's just promoting the game and figuring out how to get people to discover the thing that you spent years of your life working on. That's the other 2/3 of the work. Literally, I spent 2.5 years working on Neofeud 1 and 9 years working on getting people to discover it. So that's a whole can of worms. But it's a different kind of work, but it's definitely like it's discoverability is a whole thing. So anyway, but also I got to work on making there's all kind of stuff you got to do. You got to do tech support. You got to do at some point I would love to get back to patching Neofeud 1 because I know there are bugs that's still in Neofeud 1, but it's just like the priority was getting Neofeud 2 out. There's some errors, but it's not stuff that it's not stuff that I can't you can get past it. I know some of them are a little bit annoying, but I might come back to that, but because I gotta go open up the whole entire Neofeud 1 game again and go dig through that code base. I don't have my brain cannot handle anymore. Like I said, because I gotta do the writing. I had to do the writing, the programming, the scripting, the animation, the 2D, 3D art, the portraits, this whole sequence, right? The coding it, creating the individual assets, adding it to the game, writing the entire 140,000 word story of Neofeud 2, and all that, and keeping all the characters and lore in my head, and Neofeud's world is very world building centric. It's very cerebral and intellectual, and there's a lot of complicated parts happening. Some games don't have very complicated story, which is fine. Sometimes if you're just playing a platformer or an action game or something like that, it's not necessarily the most important thing. But with Neofeud and Neofeud 2, and it's not just any kind of story, it's a very particular kind of, it's very much a thinking person's game that is supposed to make you consider, and it has a lot of heavy social political commentary, philosophical, science fictional discourse, and all kind of things are going on in the game, right? It's like Disco Elysium-ish, I would say, in that sense, as opposed to Sonic the Hedgehog. So that's but the other part of that is that there's all this information and world building, from character arcs to plot arc. What's the point of this scene? That's the part that's really taxing in this last couple months, is just like, what exact tone, what music and sound effects go here? Could this part, in writing, right? Could I subtract this sentence and make this a stronger? Will the purpose of this scene and the impact be greater if I remove this clunky bit, or is this going on too long? Is this not going on long enough? Is this information contradicting itself, right? And then is the music fitting the tone that I'm trying to hit in this scene? Do I have to make some more music? I also compose all the music, right? So all that is like a lot of that's a lot to keep in my brain. So once I'm done with Neofeud 2, I can offload. If I can offload the Neofeud 2 world at least somewhat, it's never gonna fully be out of my brain. It's gonna be like the Jabberwocky, just wobbling around my brain, or maybe more like the it's like I had a bunch of viral metaphors popping into my head, but we're very much masking, and we're very much health conscious around here. So that's not necessarily. I was gonna say the herpes for life, no, but it also makes Neofeud seem like some kind of disease you could catch. My brain has caught the Neofeud. The Neofeud parasite will be in my brain forever. But no, it's like once I'm done with Neofeud 2, I can offload the data. I can offload a lot of in the front of my brain, the characters, the world, and the story that I need to be conscious of, like directing a TV show, right? If you're working on a movie or a TV show, right, and you're like the lore manager, like people call, I know there's a thing called lore managers now, or if you're the director, right, or you're directing this episode, you got to know what's happening, which characters are doing what what happened in the previous scene, right? All that kind of information. I have to have all of that for a 30-hour, potentially 30-hour game, right? With like, again, like 700 pages of script. I have to have it all in my brain. So if I can like put that down, and the script can like just be inside of a Microsoft Word 2003 docx file, and or a Google Doc, and or the itch.io website, then like inside, if I can like, like if you have Steam, right? I can click the uninstall game icon, or if you don't have Steam, I can like use the uninstaller to uninstall this to free up some space in my hard drive, but it's on your hard drive so you can install other games, right? So it's kind of like that. I need to uninstall the Neofeud 2 universe from my brain for at least partially, so I can fill it with something else. Or even to do the Neofeud 1 bug fixes, I need to uninstall Neofeud 2. It's just too much. So that's one that. So I apologize if people like haven't wanted that. Okay, let me just check the chat now. Hey, what is up to Coral? Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, I'm not gonna be on here too long because like I started this later. This morning I was just working on. This morning I was just working on the Neofeud 2 scene. Remember, I'll show some of that. It's a little bit, it's the end of the game, so I can't really show too much of it because I don't want to spoil too much. But I mean, it's like an action. There's like action scene. I won't tell you what happens. You just kind of see some of the, it's like some trailer footage, right? But yeah, I'm happy with how it finally turned out. And I was working on it all last night, and I was working on the wrap up part of it, like it's part of the ending, the game ending part, where it's like lots of like what is the aftermath of this epic revolutionary struggle, actual revolutionary struggle. What is the aftermath of that? So I was just working on that right before the stream started. Making sure everybody's lines is right, breaking out the dialogue. I was trying to make it so that when you like click a dialogue option, I'm trying to make it a little bit less on the rails, or a little bit less like the story is being told like watching a TV show or a movie, and more like you are more choosing the actions in the dialogue sequence, right? So that it's more a little bit more active. And then also, if you don't want all the world and story, then you can just jump to the next section and be like, okay, I'm not going to tell you how the end of empire and capitalism is going to go. I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen to the neo-feudal oligarchs that have been, dethroned or not dethroned. That's going to be sorted out, and now we're going to go party on the deathbed of white supremacy, imperialism, and capitalism. We got to go party now. We got to go rebuild some of these roads that got broken. It's like having a global economy destroyed because an empire overreached and started a war that has massively backfired. But now we got to go rebuild. There's all this infrastructure. There's all this energy that we gotta figure out where it's gonna come from. I don't have time to explain to you what happens to billionaires and trillionaires after revolution. I don't have time for that. You gotta go and talk to the, you have to go talk to the party's disciplinary, elite rehab. You have to talk to the Techno King Space Emperor rehabilitation facility. The managers will explain to you how you're gonna get a real job for the first time in your life and stop being an oxygen thief. Right, sitting on thrones of stacked $100 bills and or thrones made out of gold and ermine. You're gonna have to talk to. I don't have time to explain this to you. So if you don't really, but if you really want to hash it out, like what actually happens, in event of the undoing of a plutocracy, a galactic plutocracy, then you can hash it out with everyone. Anyways, okay, so but that's let's look at some Neofeud 2 in game that I've just worked on. Okay, let's see here. I just posted this.
Send everything we've got, the whole kit and caboodle. Fly all the Valkyries. Apocalypse now! Send everything we've got, the whole kit and caboodle. Fly all the Valkyries.
So yeah, that is one of the recent. That's one of the recent scenes. Oh, by the way, this admiral, his name is Admiral Olympus. He also has another name. I won't say it right now. General Warmonger. The a-hole in chief of the combined utopian forces. The Galactic Union of Liberal States, also known as ghouls. Apocalypse Now. So he's actually played by American Johnson. That's which is our friend and comrade and Luna Oi's partner, our Vietnamese comrade Luna Oi. As we are reminded, the great black historian Gerald Horne wrote the introduction for Luna Oi's recent book. Or the translation that they did, which is here. Curriculum on the basic principles of Marxism and Leninism. That's actually mandatory Vietnamese curriculum. Speaking of revolution, people that have fought empires like the Iranians are doing right now, or the Vietnamese have done. I've worked together with Luna Oil as well in the past. And also Luna is also featured in this game as well. So, so when it comes to making, fighting against unjust systems of various kinds and invaders and colonial invaders, these kind of unhinged warmonger types, MacArthur's, your General MacArthur's, your John McCain's, and those kind of people, or John McPain's. So we're in good company here, and anyway, so EJ did a good job playing this kind of a-hole villain character. We very much appreciate the voice acting, and so that's a little bit of you can kind of see like there's a lot going on in this scene, right?
Send everything we've got, the whole kit and caboodle. Fly all the Valkyries. Apocalypse now!
So each one of the ships is like a separate object. I'm trying to control them all at once, and then try to get the audio to line up and the music, and choosing like how much and where to put the music. Because a lot of the Neofeud and Neofeud 2 is very cinematic like that. So one thing I noticed is that one thing I like trying to stay conscious of is like the music and the sound effects. You can never have. You always have to balance, right? The voice acting, or the dialogue, then you have sound effects, and then you have music, because you can't have all three, especially in a heavy action sequence. You can't have all three in the foreground. It's just going to be total chaos, and each will clash with the others, and it'll worsen the total impact. And so like constantly having to jump between there's actually a setting called speech music volume drop during speech. That's like a setting, right? So it's like how much of the music is here, and then what music will be here. Is it more like metaphorical? Because not everything, like obviously it's in space, right? So it's like technically, I mean, there's some shows that are very anal retentive, or I should say obsessive compulsive disorder about their accuracy vis-a-vis sound waves, non-existent sound waves moving through vacuums, like The Expanse sometimes is. But the reality is like it's entertainment. It's not literally what, and like what you see and what you hear, right? It's not necessarily. These are actually really never fully connected, because it's always recorded from somewhere. That's not literally what the person is hearing. And recording quality always varies, right? So anyway, long story short, so it's like, so choosing what audio, that's what the last bit was like, choosing what audio to put where. If you edit videos, you know about this, but choosing what audio to put where. But like in a cinematic sense too, is like, we're gonna have the sound of the jets exploding and the sound of the firing weapons, and then the speech is gonna override that, and then the music is gonna drop back and it's gonna come to the foreground. Because sometimes you have an action sequence. If you think about action movies, because you have a whole action sequence where it'll just be like, you know, Iron Man and, you know, the Hulk having a civil war, like in Captain America Civil War, and there'll be all this light and explosions and punches and blasts and things happening, right? But it'll just be music, right? Or in like Saving Private Ryan, that there's scenes like that. You know, it's just music. And then suddenly the sound of the gunshots and the explosions and the bangs and the pows come in, right? And then it jumps back and forth, because if you just do one, if you do both at the same time at maximum volume, it's just going to be deafening, you know. Anyway, long story short, that's some of the stuff I was recently working on. Okay, let's look at what else is happening. That was the scene I just finished like yesterday. That's not new. Well, maybe I'll play this again because Coral did comment on this, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Space invaders brainwash native children to hate themselves and love colonial oppressors. So Neofeud 2 is a game that deals with a lot of intense topics, like, you know, serious material, including culture erasure, you know, brainwashing indigenous and native people and people of most of the world. It's the global majority. To hate themselves and to look up to those that have destroyed and plundered and even enslaved the native populations, and the kind of quiet self-hatred. Sometimes it's not as obvious. Even just like in where we should go to school. Like Holly was just watching this show, a Chinese show actually, where it's set in like the 2015, but like the parents of the generation insist on their children they must go to a prestigious British or some kind of European university, right? Because and the kids are like, but that's not really what I want to do, and that's not really going to actually concretely empirically help me. But it's just like, but it's so entrenched that everything Asian is inferior and everything European is superior. You simply have to do that because that's what we've always done, right? That's actually 70% of the world is Asian, actually. So that's actually, that in itself is a huge facet. The self xenophobia or the self anti-Asianness of Asians themselves, right? Which is constructed by a century of humiliation, amongst other things, and the white supremacist colonial capitalist system for 500 years. But also Africans. Obviously, I'm a native Hawaiian, and that self-hatred is deep and constructed and then self-perpetuated here as well. And so Neofeud, it's not just entertainment. I mean, it is entertainment. But like Neofeud like Neofeud 1, Neofeud 2 also dives into all of this as well. So I'm going to just share this one. Sometimes it's just like the last scene was more like Star Wars. Well, it's also serious too, because it deals with revolutionary struggle, all means necessary, including armed struggle. But this one is
Why are you removing our Wenyu Oran patterns, our sacred glyphs from the structure?
Ugh, this is nasty graffiti. I need to wipe it up.
This is our ancestry and heritage, and you seek to erase it? What could possess you to do such a horrific thing?
The Eutropians are teaching us better. We gotta get rid of these silly scribbles and join the modern world now.
One time in history class, we were learning how in 2092, the Bisberg Zuckerbuck Corporation sailed to nebulous blue, discovered us, and saved us from our savage ways? Anyway, I tried using my ho-ho time device thingy to speed the lecture up. Nothing happened.
Whole new device. And it will not work unless you have entwined your neural and genetic structures broadly into the tachyon threads during your tribal initiation ritual.
Yeah, sounds like more BS. Who the hell has time for some dumb ancient rituals anyway? I'm gonna make a ton of money as a rock star. Maybe score big on Wall Street. Get a sweet mansion, some aero Lambos, a levitating jacuzzi.
The broken ones now break our children, refashion our young into themselves, into agents of empire, into wendigos consumed by the void that cannot be filled. My heart cannot take this.
And that is also sorry. And that is Luna playing Luna Oe plays the indigenous science fiction indigenous character that's currently on the screen. And so but yeah, so it definitely deals with that how the doctrine of discovery, terra nullius, the Western Christian missionary system, which was partially about erasing and replacing indigenous cultures, and also maintaining global subordination to Euro-colonial interest. That and how to deal with Hawaii. This is really serious because we have a lot of people that believe incorrect things about who they are based upon going to Christian churches still, of Catholic, Protestant, Mormon. Some people don't even realize, or including like hating on their own the history of speaking on the gender and sex topic. Like we had full acceptance of queer LGBTQ people of all kinds. Like Mahu was a normal accepted third gender in Hawaii, and those Hawaiians who even some of them like identify as like some of the people who are pro sovereignty against the colonial occupations, are still like very homophobic, very they're harboring like extreme conservative American Western Christian values, and also like believing they can be sovereign while also working for the U.S. military, right? And that part of that comes through the church itself. It's not only that, but that's another factor where that's part of it's a vector of the control of and also instilling the self-hatred within the population. But also, of course, the liberal have their own news media, mainstream education, liberal education, which is pro-Western, pro-capitalist, pro-U.S., etc. I call it more of like it's a diseducation system, a miseducation system, or where it has math and reading and some history, but then it inserts all of this parasitical lies and mind warping within that, right? And so and that's been like a major method to control the whole planet for centuries, if not longer, by simply controlling education and controlling education plus news media, which is just like updates to education, really the accepted consensus reality narrative. Then you control the whole planet, and just people can't even believe that they're working, but simply by believing that certain types of products, certain places are more prestigious than others. Certain, Harvard, you have to go there. Oxford, you have to go there. Your handbags have to be French or something like this, because right, or you have to visit prestigious places which are all controlled by Western imperial interests, and military bases are all built around them, right? It's I was talking like funneling people into the Strait of the Suez Canal and then charging a toll by the British, right? Is like funneling everybody into Hawaii to maintain an unsinkable aircraft carrier, the Indo-Pacific Command, to control the whole planet, or funneling people into a West Asian settler colony unsinkable aircraft carrier to control Central West Asia and Northeast Africa and the key choke points of energy flows, right? So, but that is all part also of warping and distorting and controlling native populations, especially around key checkpoints, but not just those, controlling people everywhere, including all of the Chinese, to make them believe that they are inferior and deserve to work long hours for their masters in the West, and having the Gen X and Boomer of their populations believe the only possible pathway to success is to send your children to, especially the ones that are good at programming, engineering, and anything else that could be lucrative and could alter the global power structures. Send all your Chinese children to the United States and to Europe so that they can control the world, while your children do all the work for them. I was just reading about the Chinese got kicked out of. They were like banned from like an Australian AI conference recently. We're very anti Gen AI, but there's lots of software research that needs to be done, and the younger generations are starting to figure this out. I think they're coming out of this, the colonial brainworms, the colonial mind control. But it's a long, difficult process, right? The liberal one is much more insidious and virulent than the conservative one. Because the conservative one is just like, you are inferior, right? It's just N-word, basically, right? But the liberal one is more, you're doing so good. You're so well spoken. You never say that we're superior. You just kind of imply that you could have such great opportunities. There are great opportunities ahead of you through the indigenous grants that we will give you to go to our beautiful universities, and it's so great that we're empowering you to be your best self. All right. While we don't do any work, and you send all of your smart, best, and brightest to be engineers, science technicians, and figure out how to make rare earths for us, because we lost them all. Anyway. So that's a little bit of a side discussion, not necessarily related to the game. But let me get out of this. Okay, because I could go off on that forever. You will find out about that on Twitch. Okay, let me just make sure there's anything other. Here's one. I didn't share this one. This was fun. The moon landing is one small step for Space Odyssey trekkers. Here we go. This is another one another scene I recently worked on in Neofeud 2.
We're on a starship. How fast can this thing go?
Speed is irrelevant to us.
We're on a starship.
I'll just leave it in the background. That's
Speed is.
So that this one is there's a part in the game where everybody obviously it's a science fiction game, and Neofeud 1 had it's absolutely science fiction. There's like there's conscious robots, there is half human, half animal chimeras. There's levitating, floating cities and stuff like this, and then there's time travel. There's like all kind of quantum effects happening all over the place, reality, multiverse type situations, but then there's also like straight up Star Trek, Star Wars, light speed, and spaceships in Neofeud 2. Neofeud 2 gets a little bit more into the not quite space opera, but it gets a little more into the Star Trek, Star Wars. It gets a little bit closer to the stars, Then Neofeud 1 is mostly the neon cyberpunk glimmering lights are most of the twinkling is the neon lights of a terrestrial origin. Neofeud 2 gets a little more extraterrestrial. Anyway, so that's the moon landing. Let's check that. Okay, that's not new. Oh yeah, here's one more. This one. I don't know. Did I share this one last week Saturday? I can't remember. The Energy Genius meter. I can't remember. Oh, just in case I didn't, I'll just share it again. How does this thing work?
Illegal tampering detected. As a pseudo-sentient artificial consciousness deputized by Ghostlandia, I am hereby authorized to neutralize you until arrival of police. Cease and desist immediately.
Oh, son of a Sarlacc. I'm desisting. Ceasing. Sorry. What is this thing?
That's a bona fide paper book, made from pieces of flattened tree bark and all. It's definitely from Earth. Although I don't remember tentacles, rocket ships, seven-fingered captains, or coffee corporations in Moby Dick. This must be from the post-Arthurian explosion, when billions of people churned out trillions of rip-off books using language mimicry algorithms.
Anyway, so that's another little bit from the Library of Babelification of Civilization via Gen AI results in homicidal power meters and rocket ships in Moby Dick. Yeah, so rocket ships in Moby Dick, seven-fingered captains, unhinged, malfunctioning AI-powered killer police/military asking for 25 gallons of your blood, which human blood is 65 degrees and yellow in color, according to the AI entropy and slopified, U.S. textbooks and information systems. So that's the second order impacts of civilizational self-annihilatory Gen AI pursuit is another facet, and of course also our comrade Mexley shows up in that. Our friend Mexley is the voice actor in that scene, and of course our good friend the Energy Genius power meter. You know, our good friend the homicidal power meter is back, and that's a lot of fun too. Anyways, okay, so don't forget. So if anybody, I'm gonna be wrapping up soon because I got to get back to work finishing Neofeud 2, amongst other things, and I got to go eat lunch as well. But if anybody has any questions or anything else related to anything, I'm going to try to check out the chat. The quick update is the main update is that Neofeud 2 is going to be coming this week within the next few days. To itch.io again, and it's gonna be it's going to itch probably on the 31st at the current state of things. I just finished the last scene in the game, in the playable game, and I'm currently wrapping the ending, like the the epilogue, and then I'm gonna make the credits. I may not have time to put all the new cursors and menus in, but like that's it's gonna be like, it doesn't. I mean, to me, people have already played through Neofeud. The testers have played through it, Neofeud 2, to the halfway point, and everything. There hasn't been any major crashes or problems still. So if I go in and add a bunch of new things, I'm like, it doesn't really change the experience too much. So I'm like, I might just be like, well, this is going to be like the first version 1.0, and version 1.1 to 1.3 will have more of the bells and whistles in there. I would say I can't, if there's any bugs reported between that's why I'm releasing to itch partially, because Steam is a little more I don't want to have any major snafus, you know what I'm saying, in the Steam release. So but anyway, long story short, the completed game will be purchasable at the current, if plans go go according to plan on I would say the 31st of March. That way it's still March. I said I was gonna get this game done in March. I said it was next week, last week, and now it's this week. So yeah, so that's the plan, and I don't foresee it. I don't foresee there being any problems as of right now. I don't know what could come up. Oh my gosh, Neofeud 2 was a figment of my imagination. That would be a problem. Or like, yeah. War breaks out like at my house, and I can't even get to my computer. That's like, I don't know how exactly what would break out at my house only. That's a weird thing, but the Strait of Hormuz is shut down so badly. Every strait of every waterway and airway is shut down, and all the power on Earth goes out because nobody can get any energy to run any economy, and thusly my computer won't turn on, and that will stop me from releasing Neofeud 2 on March 31st. So that there you go. That's what it is. Okay, so let's have a quick end to this. Let's end the conflict quickly so it doesn't escalate to the point where all energy flows get shut down, so I can't turn my computer on to upload Neofeud 2 to itch. Okay, let's it was all a dream. Anyways, okay. So, what happened to my? Sorry, I'm trying to. My live streaming seems to be behind for some strange reason. The security panel looks like something out of Portal. The security panel was something out of the if you look closely at the security panel, because Grant brought this up, or let me just check this. Yeah, if you look closely at the security panel, well, you can't really see it in this case, but if you look inside, it's actually modeled after. It's supposed to look kind of like a Sega Genesis. And like in Neofeud 1, there's these cartridges that you can take out and insert. And one of them is like, the original one is like Power Lord 3000 or something, right? And it's like the corporate dystopian power manager that's charging you like $500 based upon a dynamic pricing, based upon how many Category 7 pyronados and catastrophic Texas ice storms are in your area, right? And how much money they can get away with charging you. They jack your electric price up to like $200 today, and it's like the Power Lord system. And then you put in like Raging Street. It kind of looks like Streets of Rage, and it's the liberated Sega Genesis cartridge like power meter software. And then it starts, it starts doing communist electricity distribution. So everyone gets like, a free or very low rate under electricity, just like they get in an advanced country like China. So anyway, that's the energy. I actually made it to look kind of like I wanted to kind of look a little bit like a Sega Genesis because I felt like it. And that's part of, that's how you know it's not AI, because it's a very Silver Spook particular style and Silver Spook particular references as well. Also the fact that I put like a Gatling gun, a flamethrower, and a taser all there. That's a signature thing. There are multiple times where you get simultaneously Gatling gun shot, flamethrowered, and tasered, like multiple. In Neofeud 2, it happens at least 2 or 3 times. And people keep asking, like, why would you shoot flamethrower and lightning bolt people at the same time? Like, why would you do that's? Like, isn't that overkill? And then somebody says, I think Liz says, like, cruelty is the point. And also overpriced, needless and redundant weapon systems, right, is also the point, right? Just like the F-35, right, which is a giant boondoggle to grease the palms of Lockheed Martin and or the military contractors, Okay. Anyways, okay. So I think that's all the updates on the Neofeud 2. I was just gonna. Yeah, it's 125. And also, yes, the cake is a lie indeed. Okay, I'm gonna go look at the what's that game? Oh yeah. So I said I was gonna do. I'm trying to do more like at least a part of this is just review someone else's another company's game or another developer's game. So the game that I played, one of the games I played this week, actually there was a Steam Spring Sale, and a bunch of games were like on a very low price. So I was like grab a few of those. For less than the price of a cinnamon chai dolce latte from Starbucks, you can get like 3 actually high quality games on the Steam sale. Okay, let me turn this down a little bit. But this is the game I was playing this last week. One thing I like about this is like the third game I've played by this dev called Steel Mantis. All their games have like killer soundtracks, like metal AF soundtrack. They always look really cool. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, this is not the right one. Actually, this is the. I'm in the wrong one. Oops. It is Valfaris, but it wasn't that one. It was the sequel to that one. But all their and this one also, they all have really cool soundtracks. They all have really great art. The gameplay is super tight. I mean, it's challenging but not impossible, you know. You know, everything about it's like, you know, it's what you would want out of a heavy metal infused side-scrolling shooter, in this case, or in Mechatherion case, and a side-scrolling action platformer in the case of Valfaris, the first one. And then there's a game that was more like a fantasy, medieval, dark, more gothic side-scroller that was Slain from the 2016, I believe. This one is definitely the most advanced graphics, the biggest production values, and I think it just came out last year. Yeah. You know what's really cool is it looks really cool and it runs on my computer. Usually my computer can't run a lot of my computer doesn't like to like run you know, games that have any high quality high production value visuals. Usually I don't have the best machine, but this one actually ran really smooth, so that was really nice. It's kind of like this game is kind of like it's like Gradius. It reminds me of Gradius 3. That's my closest reference point. Which is like, you know, because I play like all the 80s and 90s Nintendo, Sega Genesis games. It's like a side scrolling starship shooter, but you're like a flying, levitating giant mecha. You know, you're like a transformer. You know, or you're a transformer or a Power Rangers Megazord or a Jaeger from Pacific Rim. You know, and you have a giant sword which you can swing around, and you have like all kinds of weapons and this giant dog robots that have missile launchers that come out of their forehead, and you know, they whip you with this stegosaurus, like a giant mecha stegosaurus tail. There's you know, it also reminds me of Forgotten Realms or Forgotten Worlds. I can't remember if it's Forgotten Worlds or Forgotten Realms, which is a Sega Genesis game where you fight a paramecium and like a dragon with swords coming out of its stomach. And it would get because it's like hovering guys that kind of look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. This guy has longer hair than that though. And they're like hovering in the air and shooting while and they're like kind of just like in some kind of jetpack, and they're just kind of hovering while shooting. Like Space Harrier was also like that, I guess. And then and you're fighting all kind of bad guys and bosses, but it's not like an actual spacecraft. It's not like an X-wing type thing. It's just you up in the air. Anyway, long story short, this was a lot of fun. It was good times. Okay, let's make sure I'm broadcasting the right thing. Yeah, I'm still on that. Anyway, so that's one of the games I played. There's another game I just started. It's called Beyond Sunset, but I'm not sure. I'll probably like leave that for another time. I didn't get too far into it. That one's definitely neon cyberpunk. You're like a literal neon cyber samurai. I think it's a Doom based game as well. I guess I mentioned it. I might as well just throw it up there. Yeah, Beyond Sunset is I know a lot of these games are not necessarily point and click adventure games, but this is part of the thing. I can't play really I can't play a lot of story. I can watch some shows, but I can't play story intense games as much while I'm working on Neofeud 2. That's another reason why I want to get it done, so I can get it. Try to play some other games that's more story intensive. Cyberpunk first person shooter with a rich story and RPG elements. You are Lucy, an enhanced street samurai searching for lost memories. Fight in large open interactive levels overrun by Yakuza, zombies, robots, and bosses. This is like another like a boomer shooter. It's very cybery. The soundtrack is very synth wavy. It definitely feels like you're in like a 1990s Japanese. Well, obviously very like lo-fi Japanese corporate archaeology or something. There's definitely a lot of samurais, and you can like deflect bullets with your samurai sword. Yeah. Anyways, it's if you like that kind of thing, it's worth checking out for sure. Okay. Anyway, so that's some of the other games that I have checked out. Just gonna like repost this just in case. But yeah, so Neofeud 2 is coming this upcoming week. Yeah, I think there's too many other updates other than I think I've basically covered everything. So anyways, yeah, I'll probably just wrap it up then. But yeah, so look out for that. I'm probably gonna put it on sale when it first goes out. Is there anything else I have to finish? If you, I'm not sure if people are gonna watch this that are the voice actors, but if you, because some people are like, oh, I used to be known as this, but now I want to be credited as that. Some people actually were asking me, what should I be? This is just a little bit aside, but somebody asked me like, Silver Spook, I have all these names. What name should I go by? And I'm like, you tell me, buddy. What name do you want to go by? That's up to you. I was like, I can't tell you what your name is. I cannot. I know I made a game called Neofeud, but I am not the techno king. I am not the Neofeudal ruler who can, I cannot pick up a Neo sword and put it on your left and right shoulder and say, IW, Sir, Ben White of the Neofeud 2 voice acting team. I cannot choose your name for you. You have to give me the name you want. That was a weird problem to run into. It's like, what would you like to be credited as? I'm like, which of these 16 names? Maybe not 16 names, but somebody had like a whole bunch of names, and I was like, put the names on a miniature Wheel of Fortune, toy, and then spin the dial, and then you tell me which one comes up. Cause I was like, but then I said, well, you can be uncredited if you want. Because some people don't want to be credited sometimes. Like on Neofeud 1, somebody said, oh, I don't really want to be credited for reasons, they're like, or if you credit me just as a honorable mention or like a special thanks. They don't want to be credited in this other way. So that's people's decision. So that's one thing I'm just finalizing. So if you watch this for some reason and you were a Neofeud 2 voice actor, then and you haven't yet, just don't forget to message me soon, because I'm gonna finalize the credits in the next few days. If you have 16 names, choose a name and then Discord or email or send me smoke signals, okay, about what your name is. You can even, and yeah, it's like, some people are like, yeah, you can, some people have more than one. If your name is a paragraph with like, I am Bob White, maker of cryptocurrencies, the fourth, Earl of Sandwiches. I was trying to think of other titles to give you. Breaker of Chains, the Unburnt, I am Sam, Sam the perpetually confused. You don't give me a paragraph. Don't make your name an entire paragraph, because that might be a little bit. That's just gonna clutter up my credits. But anyways, okay. So that's just some final comments. Anyways, if you'd like to help us out, everything we do here is, of course, supported as always at ko-fi.com/silverspook. And we really do appreciate it. Oh yeah, some people brought this up, and somebody asked about it. Thanks a lot also to our friend McLovin or Mike, who asked, who is one of our supported us recently at Ko-Fi. Thanks a lot. I think it's N95P100. Who asked, is there any other way to help those suffering from the storms in Hawaii? The answer is there are people suffering from the severe weather in Hawaii where we are as well. Luckily for us, we're not suffering too badly personally, but we have been trying to do at least some part to help with the recovery, because there's been a pretty disastrous flooding. And I'm not closely involved with all of that, but well, I guess we're partially involved in one sense. But if you go to, I know for sure Moonkind Things is one of our fellow Native Hawaiian community members, who is also part of also helping with the people have been displaced. Their houses have been completely just flooded out, destroyed, and they need to thousands of people. Entire neighborhoods have been wrecked by this severe weather, unfortunately. And so people need to recover. It's people are comparing it to Lahaina. Maybe not in the total death rate numbers, but the amount of damage is really significant. So there's various resources here. Holly, I'm sure, has some other ones as well. Like these are Auntie Miley and Uncle Hano trying to, just one family trying to recover and need some mutual aid to get some help with that. So because somebody asked this, but and that's all what we do, is we're trying to build more as other part of our Silver Spook workers. Obviously the colonial, dealing with our problems of capitalist systems, but also like restoring the ecology, land, and our nation as well under the colonial suffering that we are going through, including this, which wouldn't have been as bad if there was less malpractices when it comes to tourism, when it comes to land management, due to the U.S. corporate agriculture, and the way that the corporations handle their because the way they treat the land, it increases, exacerbates the vulnerability and exacerbates the damage of floods, right? And so that's another thing that we're also working on. That's part of the anti-colonial, anti-capitalist work that we do as well. And check out some of these. I'm sure Holly will drop some in the chat. I just wanted to say that because I'm sure everyone's seeing the Hawaii. It's even on mainstream news, right? That the Honolulu damages 1,000 plus homes, housing aid available, and these kinds of things. But yeah, please don't donate to we have really bad experiences with Red Cross, HEMA, and a lot of, to be honest, U.S. and Western aid entities that these are more very questionable entities that have not helped at all. And we've seen it in volcano eruptions on this island we're on. In the disaster, they have basically not helped, or just taken and basically just taken people's donations and run off with it. To be 100, or just the money just disappears. Resources, money disappears. Hillary Clinton and Haiti. I mean, it's a common story. Their organization. But during the Lahaina fire, same thing happened with FEMA. There's just like resources come in and then they just don't go back out to people. And like I've seen this in several disasters over the just in the last decade. At least I can count like 3, 4 or more, where so try to directly support. We try to be like I'm just trying to get that's one example of where it's like part of community and communityism, let's say that, is like knowing people in the community. And it's hard to know, right? If you just send money or resources, or you just trust someone that's out of your community that you're not direct, it's easy to confuse, distract, and then exploit people's even well-meaning donations, right? When you are not there, right? But we are here, and we know. I know Holly and I personally know Moonkind Things, right? As Emma Cole is her name, and we work with them. We know that they're trustworthy, that they act like resources that go to them goes to actually help people, whether that's with food needs, with housing. They help set up the Ahupua'a system, which is a Native Hawaiian non-capitalist collective means of resource and housing distribution that we're trying to reconstruct against the U.S. colonial capitalist system that they have installed here. And so we know, because we've worked on the ground with Emma, like in an ongoing fashion, right, in the community, that if you support, if you send resources to or donate money to the people that she is working with, she herself, then it's gonna, it's gonna actually go where we have a high chance that it's higher chance it's gonna go to actually help people, right? So every Ko-Fi and all the Patreon money that we get is gonna help to keep us housed and keep this Silver Spook cooperative going, making anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, anti-racist, retro, cyberpunk adventure games, doing education on those various fronts, entertainment, and then also working directly on the ground here, and with the ecology and nature to restore our food forest, as opposed to colonial capitalist curbside appeal lawns for capitalist landlords and banks. So anyway, so long story short, that's a little bit of just a little bit of that, because one of our patrons and supporters that we greatly appreciate was specifically asking about that kind of stuff. So I just want to say that. Thanks again to Mike. Don't forget to mask up. Also, COVID conscious person, because guess what? We still have even FT Signifier did a recently video. Viruses are still with us, and very severely bad ones, and we also need to do community care in that sense. Okay, anyways, that's a good place to wrap it up. If you'd like to support us, though, ko-fi.com/silverspook, patreon.com/neofeud, patreon.com/neofeud is another good place to directly give us help as well. And you also get access to behind the scenes on what we're doing, such as obviously working on Neofeud 2 and the retro sci-fi games like this. Here's some. Speaking of restoring the food, this is some of that. We try to share like how we're restoring our non-capitalist collective mutual. It's not really. It's well, I guess in the modern sense, but you thought of as mutual aid, but it's really a system of resource distribution, resource management, distribution, and social and political organization around using the resources of the land or the Aina, as we call it, to fulfill people's needs on the basis of their needs, as opposed to their desires, and to empower and enrich a capitalist hoarding class, right? So if you want, and so that's part of the work. This is also literally part of the work that we do, is try to work with the system and teach people about what we're doing, while also physically trying to grow food on the land that we are on. And this is a bunch of sweet potatoes that we're currently working on, and it's still doing very well, and sugarcane as well, that's doing very well, and onions. Those are just some of the things that we're trying to grow here. Anyways, And Neofeud 2. You also get access to Silver Spook Discord, Silver Spook University, which is Silver Spook University is over 1,000 hours of the content and education that we have produced, categorized by topics, which you get access to when you become a Patreon at any level. You can also grab, of course, Neofeud on Steam. On Steam, it was recently on sale. It will go on sale again. It is a retro anti-capitalist cyberpunk adventure game that I spent 2.5 years working on, of course. Sequel's almost done, as you know, probably, based upon the title of this video. And if you have a second to leave, even a very short review, if you like the game, it is appreciated because it helps get the game discovered in the Steam algorithm. You can also grab Neofeud on itch.io for Windows, Mac, and Linux, along with several other games like Decolonators, where you fight an empire, kind of like what's happening in the West Asia right now. And we worked on this game, and you win against this empire, and you kick them out, which is also what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. And this is a game that I made with our comrade Luna Oi, who is also a Vietnamese friend of ours. Indigenous Star, Pigeon with Gun, and there's several other games, or several other books as well, like the Neofeud and Short Terminus Machina short story collection, and Woman is a book by Holly, who was raised in right-wing Christian culture, and it critiques that culture. You can also follow at Silver Spook Games at Mastodon.social, at Silver Spook Games at Wandering.shop, and Silver Spook, look for us on Silver Spook on Blue Sky, Twitter, everywhere. Silver Spook Guy for more of the personal takes, Silver Spook Games for more of the games related stuff. And of course, you can also follow Holly at on Instagram and Twitter and all over the place. Holly is allergic to blue. And yeah, always sharing a very important information and education and links related to what is happening in the videos, and of course moderating, doing all kind of other management, care work, and various other work here at the Silver Spook Cooperative. And thank you so much to all of our Patreon patrons. Without your support, it's hard to keep doing this work, so thank you so much for all of your ongoing support. Oh, look, it's the end, and then suddenly there's a bunch of people here now. Well, thanks for stopping. Hey, what's up, McLovin? Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, and McLovin says shout out and thank you to Mooka Thanks and all those helping and boots on the ground. Yeah, Mooka Thanks is just one of several people, but that's just the one that we are like certainly I know at this time I'm like can definitely vouch for it and say we're working directly with her, so we know that, and she's been on planes to bring material straight to the people in that area and to help them with their rebuilding of their houses in Hawaii that's been damaged and their lives that has been wrecked by the storm. So yeah. Yeah, take it easy, Grant, as well. Okay, anyways, I gotta wrap this up. Thanks to all of our Patreon patrons. Without your support, it's hard to keep doing this work, so thank you so much. And until next time, keep your shades polished, be excellent to each other. Watch out for the giant stellar warrior wars. It could be tricky, especially when you got space emperors over there, just running their mouth, so and don't forget to check out itch.io, Silver Spook site, Neofeud 2, March 31st.